Hello, and welcome in to Bodyslam.net. Dynamite up here tonight on Bodyslam. You usually see myself and my wonderful co-host Jose on the air, but he had some travel for work this week, so he is out. And I said, well, if I'm not doing it with Jose, what better guy to call than my main man, my fellow bearded brother, Pluggo. And he was available. Yeah. So tonight we get a little bit of the beards taking over Bodyslam and Dynamite up for the week. So Pluggo is here with me, and we're going to review tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. So first and foremost, thanks for joining me tonight, buddy. Yeah, I appreciate you hopping on with me. How we doing, man?
I'm good. When you said hello, I thought you were going to say it's Thursday night, and you know what that means. And you didn't, so I had to behave. Because I'm not in my house. I'm in yours tonight. So thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. Looking forward to it, man. When you said when I threw the invite out and you were like, "Yeah, I'm good," I was like, "All right, cool. Let's do this, Dan." So it should be good. So, overall for tonight's show, how are we feeling overall before we start breaking this puppy down?
I like this week better than last. Not that last week was bad. I just had more fun this week.
Yeah, last week was kind of
Yeah, got to see Speedball. That can't go wrong there.
Speedball was on the news for a lot of reasons. Apparently, I don't know how true these reports are.
But
did you see the backstage thing that just came out on the social webs before we came on? Apparently, there was a backstage thing where Speedball, so the Hurt Syndicate, all three of them, are walking backstage, and they walk up on Speedball. So the reports were that MVP doesn't like Speedball. Like, he's made it known that he doesn't like Speedball. And there are some other reports revolving the Hurt Syndicate in general. But that was one section of those reports. So they released an online thing, where the Hurt Syndicate is approaching Speedball, and MVP very quietly says, "Fuck you, Speedball." And then Speedball says, "Fuck you, MVP." And then MVP looks at Shelton and Bobby and he goes, "Hey, tell him. And they both put their heads down, and very quietly they both go, "Fuck you, Speedball." And then Speedball goes, "Fuck you too," "Fuck you too," or something like that. And they all, so clearly they're making light of that report, it feels like. But
if I may, if you have a problem with Speedball Mike Bailey, you're the problem.
Yeah, I don't know how you could.
Speedball is a gentleman and a scholar and a wonderful human being and a great person, and he's never been mean to anybody in his entire life.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the privilege of meeting him a few times, and he is, he's as nice as it gets. So
I don't know, like those reports, when I see him, I never know what to make of them, because you're not always going to like the people that you work with. Some of the stuff that came out with, MVP saying he didn't want to lose the belts to X, Y, and Z, and yada, yada, yada. Like, I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah. All right. But
is that Dan Brown in the house? Congratulations. Dan just had his baby.
Had another child. Yeah. Good for him. Glad the gang's all healthy. He's got 4. That's the same number as you.
Yeah.
You know what that's like. You've been giving him tips.
I told him this week. I said, "You're crazy."
4.
Don't be like me.
Whew. I grew up in a 2-child household, so the thoughts of 2 other kids being there with me and my sister might have been tough. That might have been tough. 4's a long. Good number.
Rocky John Brown. I assume the John is in honor of me, which is my shoot name. Thank you for that.
I would assume.
I'll ask him about it. I'm gonna see him in a couple weeks. He's gonna be in town.
That's good time. You're going to see him.
I'm gonna go see him.
Hell yeah. We'd love to see it. All right. So tonight's Dynamite was in Cleveland, Ohio.
Where Dan Brown is from
tonight. That is where Dan is from. So there you go. They were in Cleveland. And this show started off hot. So it started off with the backstage promo from MJF. He's calling Hangman out. He's complaining about being made to either have to cash in or earn his title shot. He says Mark Briscoe's going to pay, and he's the devil, and he's going to send him straight to hell or through a dumpster fire, Delaware, where he can be a loser, chicken farmer, blue-collar bitch, white trash that got lucky. So MJF throwing out every insult he possibly could, as the main event of this show will be Briscoe and MJF. So a quick little pre-show promo from MJF that was fine. And then we got right into the opening contest, which was announced shortly before Dynamite even started. And that was Jon Moxley and Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yeah.
And this was quite a way to open up the show here. Speedball opens up hot in this match. He's attacking John with a kick to the face. He's putting him in the corner. He's got chops and kicks going back and forth. Moxley stumbling around. Moxley then gets, starts choking Mike out, starts using his power advantage to kind of slow or try to slow Speedball down. Marina Shafir is at ringside, and she's kind of looming over Speedball while he's on the floor, stuff like that. Then you get Wheeler Yuta, typical Death Rider stuff. You get Wheeler Yuta running interference. Marina Shafir then kicks Bailey's leg right out. And then this was a good spot where Kevin Knight makes an appearance, and he gets right in Marina Shafir's face. Like, hey, don't, because Marina just
that's my guy. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's my guy. I don't care who you are. Don't do that to my guy. Moxley then gets back out there. He throws Speedball back inside, and he kind of pats Kevin Knight on the cheek, gives him like a little disrespectful tap on the cheek. Kevin Knight gets in his face, takes his shirt off, and then that allows Speedball to kind of do a dive over the top rope, the moonsault. They start going back and forth. He hits the standing shooting star double knee drop on the barricade as we go to a break, which was a very cool spot. We then come back, and Moxley's in control. He's in the corner. He's starting to take control. Bailey keeps on getting away. He slips into a cross arm bar, and then John kind of gets out of it. He rolls through. Then there's a triangle choke, and it looks like Speedball's going to get him. But then eventually Moxley hits him with the big boot. He hits a crash landing, and then he puts the bulldog choke, and he ends up pinning with the Death Rider, Speedball, Mike Bailey. A good opening match between these two, back and forth as you would expect. What did you think of the opener, Pluggo?
Before we talk about the match itself, when Mox was coming from underneath the whatever that was, I thought for sure he was going to hit his head.
You thought so?
I thought the way he was coming in hot, and he was just like right underneath that beam. And then Wheeler Yuta did. I don't know how he saw anything under there with all that hair, but
yeah,
I thought for sure he was going to run into a beam. That was close, but that was a great opener. And it's Death Riders doing Death Rider things. It's the same, kind of the same song and dance there. But of course, we love Speedball, so we thought they'd get the win. We thought that they would maybe pull off a big upset here to kind of shock the world, but especially with all the talk pre-Dynamite, might have been a fun way to but it didn't happen. And Kevin Knight gets Jon Moxley on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, or next week, one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two. I think it might be. Yeah, they are.
So, we'll roll with. I enjoyed myself. I think these two had great chemistry together. So nothing wrong.
And there was a spot during the match, and commentary did really good at the beginning of the match. You saw Moxley kind of. When Speedball was making his way to the ring, you kind of saw Moxley looking around the arena, like looking for Darby, because Darby's been torturing him. And there was the spot in the match where Darby did show up, and he took Wheeler Yuta out from ringside.
You're being all professional, and I appreciate that about you.
Yeah, of course.
Can I curse on this program?
Yeah, we can curse.
He fucking abducted him, bro.
He did.
He put a bag over his head and drug him out by his neck.
What do you feel bad for the Death Riders?
They tried to kill but the way you're like, he kind of just took him out. No, he tried to murder him.
All right. It's true. Look at.
By the way, is that true? What Jose? Am I the first ever?
I believe you are. Yeah, Jose.
Oh, shoot.
Jose got home from work travel today, so he was taking the night off to relax and rest up. Yeah, there you go. There you go. So,
but yeah, he tries to abduct. He didn't try. He successfully abducted Wheeler Yuta. Again, cut your hair. You might have been able to see it coming. Just saying.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. And then we get, we have a backstage interview with Tony Storm and Alex Windsor after this.
Yep.
Because Windsor is going to be in a fatal 4-way to determine who's going to go to Forbidden Door to fight in the TBS championship match. And Tony Storm is kind of out there because they're buddies. And one of the other opponents in that 4-way is Billy Starks. And we know Athena will be in tow. And Tony's kind of, making sure the odds are a little fair. Tony says that you can beat them down, but you can't beat them off, Pluggo.
No, and she's not wrong. And then Alex is, of course, going like, oh,
yep. Yep. Windsor says you can't give her lick without her giving lick back. And then Tony Storm says if Athena wants to whip out her John Hancock, we can do it tonight. So, and then they end up tangoing off together, and that was good. And then we get footage of in the parking lot.
Yeah.
There's a body bag. We see a body bag out there, and we see Marina Shafir and Moxley out there. There's a white body bag, and then we see a car peel off, and Darby is driving the car, and he takes off, and then they open up the body bag, and it's Wheeler Yuta, and he has a piece of paper stuck to his forehead that says Forbidden Door, which is Darby. We assume Darby challenging Jon Moxley for a match at Forbidden Door.
That'd be a lot of work if he wasn't.
Yeah.
I like how he slowly stopped and looked at them and made sure he opened the body bag before he took off.
Yeah, he was like, I need to see him see this note before we get.
Gotta make sure he saw it so that I wanted it. It should have had a check yes or no box at the bottom.
Yeah, it should have been Forbidden Door, yes or no, and then Moxley begrudgingly gets pissed off. So it looks like we're getting Darby and Moxley at Forbidden Door. That's going to happen, yeah?
I would think so. That's a lot of effort for that not to be the match. I don't think you're challenging Wheeler Yuta at Forbidden Door. I think you could just get a match with Wheeler Yuta next week if you really wanted one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's where we're going.
Yeah, I would agree. We come back from commercial then, and we get footage from earlier in the day where Renee Paquette is interviewing Mercedes Moné as she's getting out of her limo in the back. She has all her titles. Looks like Ultimo Dragon, if you ever seen that famous picture of Ultimo Dragon. Like, that's how she's, like, wearing the belts. And as she's in mid-question, Moné just tells Renee to shut up when she brings up her loss at All In. And she tells her to not be such a mark. And she laughs and walks off. Called Renee a mark, Pluggo.
I mean, Mark's gonna mark, you know what I'm saying? She was
Mark.
Listen, in Mercedes' mind, she was marking out about that match at All In.
She said it was the greatest
match. She was pretty
heavy.
Yeah, and so Mercedes shut that down real quick because of course Mercedes doesn't want you marking out for. We can debate whether it was the greatest women's match, in AEW history, but she doesn't want you debating.
Excellent match.
But Mercedes doesn't want you talking about it because she lost. So in her eyes, it's not the greatest match of all time. So Renee be marking out, man.
And I think her laughing it off. Yeah, she doesn't. That's
hurt a little bit.
That's not a real laugh. That's not I think that's funny laugh. That's a I'm dying inside laugh. That's what that is.
Oh yeah.
So we've all been there. And then we had, let me tell you, Pluggo, this fatal, I almost did it. This 4-way was fire, as the kids say. Alex Windsor, Billy Starks, Queen Aminata, and Sky Blue. It is an AEW TBS championship qualifying match. The winner will represent AEW in the interpromotional TBS 4-way championship match they're doing at Forbidden Door. So we already know that Mercedes is in it. Obviously, she's the champion. The winner of this match will represent AEW. There's going to be somebody representing CMLL, and there'll be somebody representing Stardom. So that's what we know. And this match between these 4 girls, this kicked so much ass, Pluggo. Real good. They get kind of paired off right out the chute. Aminata and Sky Blue end up together, where Windsor and Starks start going at it. As we've seen, Windsor had a little dust up. She fought for the Ring of Honor title against Athena, so there's a little bit of a past there these last couple of weeks with that. So there's a good amount of that and stuff like that. Queen Aminata, I thought was most of the time I see Queen Aminata, she's the standout to me.
Yeah.
In these matches, and I thought her and Alex Windsor in particular were the two, like, they were the people that carried this match. I felt like those two. But I thought all four women got all their stuff in. There was a good segment before a commercial break where they all got like dives in off the top rope, like, or through the ropes to each other, which was like a good spot. It led to a crowd ovation when they were all kind of laid out as we went to one of the commercial breaks. We came back and Queen Aminata hits a fisherman neck breaker on Billy, almost gets the 2 count. She put Sky Blue through a chair with the Emerald Fusion on the outside, which was a gnarly spot. It looked like Sky Blue really hit her back on the top of the chair, and she sold it very well.
when she screamed out,
she started screaming.
I legit was like, that had to have been real.
Yeah, the way she started screaming, I was like, I don't think that's a play scream. Like, I think
that sounded like it hurt.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
And Starks and Windsor are going at it. There's a discus lariat. Athena then gets in the ring to try to do something, but Toni Storm pulls her out and lays her out with the big forearm. Billy looks like she's going to hook Alex up for her finishing move, but Windsor reverses and she pulls off an inside cradle and gets the roll-up victory on Billy Starks. So Alex Windsor will be the one that represents AEW in the match at Forbidden Door. And then post-match, almost immediately after the 3 count, Mercedes Moné's music hits. She's walking down. She's on the stage with all her belts. She walks down to the ring to kind of square up with her new challenger. And at this same time, Toni Storm, keeping her eye on Mercedes, because obviously she's getting in the ring at this moment, and she's kind of standing off to the side, but she's paying attention as these two are doing their thing. And as that is happening, we see Athena going to the top rope, and she hits an O-face on Toni Storm out of nowhere, and then she hits a lung blower. Mercedes hits a lung blower on Alex Windsor. And then Moné and Athena kind of have a stare down and size each other up, but they stay cool because they're both bad guys, Pluggo. So they're like kind of okay now.
Moment of my friend of your friend and my enemy, whatever that old saying is, you know what I mean.
And that's how
since when is it called the lung blower? I've never heard that. I call it the backstabber.
It is the backstabber, yeah. But I guess it's, I don't know. Well, it used to be called, I don't know.
It's fine. I don't doubt you. I just was like, I've never heard that.
Is it technically the same move, both of them? Is there any difference between the moves? Are they both the same move?
I don't know. I would guess so.
Yeah, but either way.
Yeah.
What now? She has that contract, right? And that contract technically, did she already announce she's cashing in the contract at Forbidden Door? Is that why?
I haven't. If she did say that, I haven't heard her
because
she just basically said, "I'm cashing in when I want on my terms," and she's kind of playing like, she's just messing with Tony right now. But would I be absolutely shocked if it happened at Forbidden Door? No.
Well, they already announced it. They showed the graphic tonight.
Did they?
It's Tony versus Athena at Forbidden Door, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Is that her? That's her. That's what she chose. Like, I thought they can do this because I was sitting there. She hits the O-face tonight. I'm going, cash in. You just hit the O-face, cash in right now, right in front of Mercedes. Do it right in front of Mercedes.
That's a mistake. I think
would that not have been badass if she did it and cashed in right there and beat her right in front of Mercedes?
Would Mercedes have let her?
Well, then maybe that's why she didn't do it. That could have been. Maybe Mercedes, out of jealousy, would have been like, "No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you're not going to be the one that beats her.
Not letting this happen." I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else was. I was watching on HBO Max. I was having stream issues. Like, it kept going gray at some points, like throughout the stream. And then like
it wasn't Tony in the black and white?
No. I had to like kick out, come back in. So maybe that they posted that while I was having some issues there. Like during the big Stoke promo at the end, like my like sound went out and I had to come back in and rewind it. I thought they muted him because he just if you watch that promo on mute, Cash and Dax's face is hilarious because you're like, he must have said
they broke laughing.
Yeah, right. So I'm assuming that it was staged, but no, it turns out he actually said some stuff. Mrs. Pluggo's in the house. Hi, I'm going to take over your show from Mrs. Pluggo. Hi, honey.
There you go.
There's pizza in the fridge for you. I ordered pizza for dinner.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah, I'm a sweetheart. I even got stuffed crust.
Wow.
I'm balled out, dog.
Holy shit. I was going to say, spending that budget.
Watch out. But I will say I'll tie a bow on this whole segment. I thought this whole segment was pretty cool. I actually, it went the way I expected it to go because I knew Billy is wrapped up in the Athena Tony stuff. Sky Blue is back from injury. It's been a little bit since she's been back, but she's still kind of figuring out like her pecking order in this division. So it's kind of down to Aminata and Windsor for me. And Alex Windsor's been crushing it, man. I've really enjoyed her. I don't know a ton about her, but she's been crushing it. I think she's going to be really good for this division. And I know Tony Khan loves to throw the new flavor of the month into the title pictures. And
I completely understand why Alex Windsor won, and she has been great since she's been over here. And I'm like you, I didn't know much. I don't know much about her still, but what I've seen has been very impressive. I was pulling for Queen Aminata.
Yeah, me too.
I was pulling for her. She has been good to great for a long time to me. Like, I very much enjoy her, and I would like to see her get some momentum by winning matches and getting a little bit of a push. Like, I would have liked to have seen her win, but I have no complaints with Windsor winning. She's been very strong since signing. So, all right, we then get to footage of Renee Paquette from earlier in the day interviewing the Young Bucks. Oh, wow, we got Zach in the chat saying it's National Root Beer Float Day, Pluggo. Did you have a root beer float today?
Not today, but I did have one a couple days ago with that new A&W Ice Cream Sundae root beer.
Wait, what?
A&W
they released an Ice Cream Sundae root beer.
Yeah, it's a flavored ice cream sundae, and I had one the other night. It was pretty solid, so who knows, Zach? I might walk up there and have another one. Shout out to Zach. Always be dropping those national days, and I love it.
True. So she's interviewing the Young Bucks. They're upset about not getting enough respect. And then they go find some poor crew member, and they just berate this guy. And they're saying, they're yelling about all the stuff with the entrances and how they're getting the terrible fonts and all that stuff. And they give him a folded piece of paper, and they go, "You go tell Justin Roberts that this is how you introduce us." All right. And then they just demand that they have a proper entrance tonight. Then we go forward a little bit, and Renee Paquette is then in the ring, and she introduces the new TNT champion, Kyle Fletcher, obviously accompanied by the whole Don Callis family.
Yeah.
He had Don Callis, Josh Alexander, Lance Archer, Hechicero. They show a recap of, I know this is a Dynamite show. We don't talk about Collision, but that match with him and Kyle Fletcher was, Dustin Rhodes and Kyle Fletcher, was brutal. Yeah. It was a very violent match on Collision. And Dustin Rhodes took a beating there, and Fletcher beat him up after the match a good amount. And we find out that he needs double knee replacement surgery. So I don't know if that's real or not, or it's just kayfabe. I don't know.
I don't want to be that guy, but Dustin Rhodes is above the age that knee replacement and what he does for a living, it doesn't sound like it's too far-fetched. But if that's true, he's going to be out for a while.
Yes, he is.
Get well soon.
Yes. Callis then takes the mic from Renee. He says the real question she should be asking is, why is he building the largest numerical faction in the history of pro wrestling? It's simple: for power. If you want power in this business, you need the gold. When you've got the gold, you control the destiny. He points, he starts talking about Okada and his title belts before passing that over to Kyle for having retired a legend. Big F Don Callis chants coming at this moment, as he's saying Dustin got exactly what he deserved for stealing Kyle's moment at All In.
Damn right.
I agree. I agree. I felt like I was a bad guy for saying it, but they should have just gave it to Kyle at All In. It still makes no sense. Anyway, Dustin Rhodes, he said Rhodes has had a storied career, but a 60-year-old man doesn't belong in the same ring as the protostar. But that's not the only one of our favorites he put on the shelf. This is Kyle talking now.
Yeah.
And he says, but that's not he goes, that's not the only one of your favorites. He goes, who knows when we'll see Adam Cole again? And the crowd's like, hey, buddy, fuck you. Don't talk about Adam Cole again.
Right. Come on. Like, Dustin Rhodes is cool,
Dustin,
but hey.
You can say whatever the hell you want about Dustin Rhodes. Don't you dare talk about Adam Cole.
Sweet baby Adam Cole like that.
How dare you? Yeah. He says that he fulfilled his destiny winning this title, but it's only the beginning of his legacy, and any man that tries to take this from him will suffer the same fate as he carries on the way of being the greatest of all time. Don then he says, he goes, I know you're going to be the greatest TNT champion of all time, and when you're truly great, they're going to memorialize you. He goes, with art. And he goes, and I spent the last 2 days slaving away at the oil pay. He goes, I can still feel the oil in my fingertips.
Yeah.
And
poor Renee's just sitting there just like,
yeah, just taking it.
Gross.
And he reveals the painting, and Kyle is completely nude in the painting, and as is Don Callis. And the only thing that is covering them is the TNT championship. I think Callis was actually in a jacked mesh shirt in it, maybe.
Yeah, he was. And I was going to bring this up tomorrow night on Between Two Beards, shameless plug. This is what I want from you for Christmas, is you to paint us like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll get it done.
But I want you to do the painting.
I'll get it done. That's
all right. Yeah.
I
can put that up right here.
I don't think we'd be able to show it on live air. I wouldn't have a title covering anything. So you wouldn't be able to see it, trust me, but I wouldn't have a title covering it. Fletcher then says, he says he loves it. He says he's going to prove his greatness by defending the TNT championship on Collision, and it doesn't matter against who, because he will have his hand raised, and you better get used to it because he's going to be the champion for a very, 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 he said long time. And that was the end of that segment. I'm happy for Kyle Fletcher. He's a stud. He should hold that belt for a good while.
Yeah.
And he should just have banger matches, and that's a good spot for him to have. I wonder, unless I missed it, I don't know if they announced who's fighting him yet.
Yeah, well,
did they at the end of the show?
I didn't see at the end of the show, but he said he's going to be a fighting champ.
He's going to fight.
So we'll see who comes out. Maybe it's going to be one of these open challenge type deals. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we go backstage, and Adam Copeland is getting interviewed by Alicia Toot. He says he doesn't know how he feels about Christian Cage. He came out with zero remorse. He's learned nothing, and he has no concept of the asshole that he's been the last few years. He goes, but Christian's got his hands full with Nick Wayne, Kip Sabian, and Shayna. And he goes, so I want to turn my attention to who I have my hands full with, and that's FTR and Stokely Hathaway. He goes, now I know, we have the restraining order. I can't get within 200 feet of you. So I went to Tony Khan, and I got a match for next week, and it's going to be Adam Copeland versus Stokely Hathaway. And he goes, but in FTR, he goes, if you try to get involved, that restraining order is then officially null and void. He goes, so now there's the question, do you want to keep him away? Or do you want to throw Stokely to the big bad wolf? And he said he will dismantle Stokely piece by piece. So they have a week to think about it. So I thought this was a nice little thing with Copeland. Obviously, the Stokely stuff, which we'll get into a little bit, because he did have some things to say tonight.
Big Stoke cut a babyface promo, dude.
Kinda.
If you don't relate to short, bald, and don't get any hose.
Well, yes.
Then
but then he took a couple liberties. He took a couple liberties and shots in that as well. But that's true. But what'd you think of Copeland here and kind of this setup where he's going to kill Stokely next week? Unless FTR is willing to get rid of the
in storyline mode, I'm all for it because I'm like, yeah, get your hands on Stokely Copeland. That'll be a fun, quick little segment. But being the fact that it's too on the nose. Something crazy's going to happen.
Yeah.
Copeland's going to get his ass kicked somehow here by Stoke, FTR, whatever.
You think so?
I think so. Because it's right. It's too like, oh, I'm going to just feed Stokely to Copeland and let him wail on him, and that's going to be the end of the segment. I don't think so. It might be part of the segment, but
that's fair. That's fair.
We'll see.
That's fair. Yeah. All right. Then we get to this tag match here. The Young Bucks. So their music hits. It's the proper music. They got their big Tron. It looks like everything's back and good to go. But the entrance screen doesn't rise like it normally does.
And they reserved for special people. You need to come out one of the tunnels, bud.
Yeah. And they get stuck behind it to the point where they have to crawl underneath it, and they're pissed off. They're yelling at the cameraman like, what the hell?
I love the little moment where I think it was Nick looked back, like making sure it wasn't going to go down when he went back. He goes, okay, go.
Meanwhile, Justin Roberts is in the ring, and instead of introducing him the way it says to on the paper, he's reading the note verbatim of them yelling at him to introduce them like the proper like people that so he's not even like he's not physically doing it, he's just reading them berating him on the note. And one of the lines is, you introduce us correctly and not like jobbers. And they're like, come on, they're yelling at him. Then they do their pose, and it's like a super loud bang, but there's no confetti or fireworks, and they turn around and they're like, what the hell? And then like one little single firework goes off this way, one other one goes off the other way, and they're just getting angrier and angrier about everything that's happening. And then they get to the ring, and the title name comes up, and it calls them Max and Jeremy, which were their names when they were Generation Me back in TNA or whatever it was.
Impact.
When they were
the Impact Stone.
Yeah, Max and Jeremy from their Generation Me phase, which was nice. That was good stuff. Just hilarious. They just continue to be hilarious stuff. And then they get in the ring, and they're going against Brodito. Might be my favorite tag team in the whole company. And these guys had what you would expect that these four guys to have, Pluggo. They had an absolute barn burner.
Yeah.
I love Brody King.
And they swerved us at the end.
They did. I love Brody King. I love this pairing of him and Bandito. I think Bandito has been excellent since they've brought him back, and he's been featured on Dynamite all the time. He's incredible in there.
Yeah.
And the Young Bucks even doing this hilarious shtick of being kind of the bum ass Bucks and like the, hard fallen Bucks. They're still in the ring. They're still the Young Bucks. They're one of the best tag teams in the history of everything. And this match was incredible. This match was very, very good. And you said they swerved us at.
They did announce Fletcher's going to face Tomohiro Ishii.
Okay. All right.
So
that's fine.
We got that.
Okay.
No, I meant they swerved us at the end in the sense that I thought this was Bucks FTR. I was like, and I was messing around with some going live on different platforms today, just kind of testing it out. So I went on for like 10 minutes and just talked about the card, and I was just like, yeah, I wish Brody King would get these matches that I know he's going to win, but he always ends up in these matches where I know he's going to lose, but the match is going to rule. And that's how I felt going into it. But no, we get Brody King and Bandito with the dub.
I like it. Here's my thing. This match obviously was great. And it was great. And I think I think Brodito beating the Bucks is cool, and that's good. My thing is, if the Bucks weren't making it to the finals to lose to FTR, I think for their story they're telling, it would have made such better sense for them to go down to the Outrunners last week. You know what I mean? Like they're telling the story of the Bucks being disrespected and kind of bums and like this, like them losing in the first round to the Outrunners would have leaned into that more. Like I get it. We got a great tag team match and, but like if they weren't going to make it to the finals.
Yeah, you could have the Outrunners and Brodito.
Like, they would have had a fine match, the Outrunners and Brodito would have been fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I just think that there was a way that you could have kind of leaned into,
really
a little bit more.
Really put them down and out, having taking an L in the opening round and really losing their minds. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I don't disagree there, but like you said, the match ruled. So
it was.
We'll figure out. I guess we'll figure out what's next for Max and Jeremy.
Yeah, and I agree with you when it comes to Brody King. I have been waiting for Brody King to win some big matches. It is clear that he is one of the most over guys in the company. Everybody loves Brody King. I saw that he has a shoe. He's coming out with a shoe with Adidas.
Yeah, like the boots. The boots he was wearing tonight is going to be the shoe style,
which is dope because I love Adidas. I might buy those shoes if they look dope. But
really quick, so then tying into the story that we heard before Dynamite about how how MVP feels about certain tag teams. One of those tag teams mentioned was FTR.
Yeah, which is bizarre.
Which they're in the finals, and Brody King and Bandito were not mentioned as one of the teams they'd be willing to drop to or whatever. So that's interesting.
It is.
So does that mean the Hurt Syndicate's retaining at Forbidden Door?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Tony was just going to bend the knee to people. It doesn't feel like.
No disrespect to MVP. Yeah, I don't know if that's worth bending the knee to. Either.
My assumption is that FTR was winning this tournament and FTR will beat them for the belts. That would be my assumption to get to to get to Adam Copeland and Christian.
Yeah, whoa. This
versus FTR for the titles. I feel like, right? Wouldn't it? And All Out in Toronto, and that would be the thing.
I would think so because, again, you got Edge and Christian mentioning each other. Copeland kind of played it off today. But, again, that's where I think next week when you have Stoke and FTR beating down Edge.
Do you think Christian comes out?
Maybe Christian comes out as a courtesy to, hey, we have history. We're still brothers.
And Copeland did actually come out. Like he said he didn't do it to help Christian, but he still came out in to help Christian.
And then there's still a few weeks to kind of be standoffish, but hey, thanks. And it's like, hey, why don't
that won't happen at Forbidden Door. The tag match where FTR wins the titles so they'll have until technically they have to September 20th, 21st,
whatever. Yeah, 20th, something like that. So there's a lot of time to mend fences. And I thought Christian last week, we didn't get a lot of chance to talk about it on any other shows because it's just been a hectic couple of weeks with the WWE, but it was very poignant when he said, like, Edge, like, yeah, I did some shit, but you also have done some shit. So if anybody would understand where I was coming from, it would be you. And so I think at the end of the day, we're going to plant the seeds next week. And that's probably why Stokely got his match.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of those Hurt Syndicate fellas, after this match, Renee was interviewing them backstage. When
Renee was busy today, man.
She's always busy. They got her running around the whole arena every week. MJF rolls up. Shelton and Bobby leave, and this is just MJF and MVP. And MJF says, with all due respect, you've known me since I was 17, and we don't need Bobby or Shelton. We just need each other, and I can get my title back. And MVP stops him, and he says, Max, you just don't get it. Since joining the Hurt Syndicate, it was about we hurt people. And since you've been here, it's been me. And he goes, it is what it is, Max. And MVP gives Max the thumbs down. He goes, in one final act of kindness, because MVP does really, because I do really love you like a little brother, we'll leave you in one piece so you can go chase the Triple B. He goes, Matt, and then he goes, he goes, you realize it really just is a business as much as Montel says that's true now. He goes, but if you win the title, Bob will be coming for you, and it will be personal. Yeah. And then MVP leaves, and then MJF slowly gets pissed off and kind of pie faces the camera, get out of here, and pushes the camera away, and that's how this segment ends. So MJF officially now out of the Hurt Syndicate. But they said they're going to leave him alone so he can go get the title. But if he does get the title, Bob's coming for him. So what did you think of the MJF Hurt Syndicate experience, Pluggo?
Like I thought it was cool, but I also knew that it had this shelf life of like if they let it go too long, it would. The Hurt Syndicate's whole thing is it's cool. It's just badass. It's so cool. They're cool guys, and some of the MJF stuff was getting corny-ish, but that was by design. But if you play it too far, you could lose it. So I thought they played it perfect. I thought this was a good thing. The way MVP was just like, listen, I want you to fail in your future endeavor because I love you. He's like, I don't want you to win that title because I love you. Because if you do, Lashley's coming. And I thought that was really well done by MVP there. I think that's probably a good idea. I think. Yeah, and if that's the motto, we're all in this together, and MJF has traditionally been a me guy. So he was all throughout this show tonight. MJF, he's got a lot going on.
He does.
He's a busy man too, but we'll see if he gets that triple. I do want him to kind of win it now. So Bobby Lashley and him, that would be a fun. But I don't think he's going to win anytime soon.
Yeah,
I think that Cowboy's locked in.
Yeah, he might just be. FTR are interviewed backstage. They're asked about next week. Not only are they in the finals of this tournament that is next week, but now they are worried about Stokely and Adam Copeland. And Dax Hardwood says they have enough stress with those finals happening, but now we got to deal with this. He goes, this restraining order is for his own good. It's not for them. It's for him. Cash Wheeler says they know him better than anybody in Big Stoke instead of being in Cincinnati next week because he's the bigger, braver man and he can't be held responsible for what happens. And then Stokely grabs the mic and he calls Copeland a bully. He says, but I'm short, I'm bald, and I can't get any hoes.
I've been fighting my whole life.
Yeah, I've been fighting my entire life. And
God damn it.
And
if you don't relate to that, then you're just not. I don't know if we can be friends.
I laugh hysterically. And then he goes, next week, I'm going to fight you with a smile on my face because my boss asked me to. And he goes, and Adam is going to have to go home to his wife. And I believe he said, what did he say? She had the head of a
micro brawler. I was like, don't do Beth Phoenix like that.
So he says that, and at that time, both FTR, Cash, and Dax, they stopped. They can't. Yeah. Dax literally had to put his hand over his mouth.
And like I said,
he was laughing.
My stream was messing up, so this was on mute. So their reactions, I thought maybe he was just cursing the whole time.
No.
And they bleeped it out. So when I went back and watched it during the commercial break, I was like, oh, damn.
Cash played it off like he was laughing in a character sense, but he really broke. And Dax did it where he acts shocked like this, but he was really covering his laughter because they were both.
That broke
them both. That broke them both.
Awkward at the cookout when they're all hanging out, being like, did you laugh at my wife's micro baller head?
That was hilarious. But he goes, you're going to have to go home to your wife and kids and tell them that Big Stoke pinned you right in the middle of the ring just like that. That's what that ends. So, yeah, definitely some shit's going to be going down next week when it comes to whatever happens.
I'm rooting for Stokely, man. I'm here for it. I want him to. I want him to get the win.
That would be very embarrassing for Adam Copeland if Stokely got the win on him, which it could happen. I think it could happen.
It could happen.
Yep. Then once again, Renee is on the stage and she welcomes out Swerve Strickland for another interview segment. He comes out. He says he's not too concerned with Don Callis since the Unified Championship rules ban him and anybody else from ringside. And he said, in any way, the last time he was at ringside for one of my matches, he and Nana put him on his ass and he still won. He puts over Okada. He says he is one of the best in the world. He's one of the all-time greats in Japan. He says, but if Kazuchika is a generational once-in-a-thousand-years talent, then Swerve, he's a one-of-a-kind talent because there's nobody that's ever been like him, and there's nobody that will ever be like him once he's gone. He goes, Okada stared me in the eye, and he saw nothing, whereas when Okada looked him, he saw death because Swerve put the fear of God into him. He says he's going to continue his legacy and stand in the middle of the O2 arena with his arm raised and the unified championship in his hands while Don Callis cries in the corner like the little bitch he is. And then the crowd chants, whose house? Swerve's house. Short and sweet. I am ready. I mean, the second they teased it, I was like, I need this match. Yep. We're getting it at Forbidden Door, but I am ready for this match to happen. I think they both have done a good job talking and hyping up this match, but I am ready to see these two dudes throw on a classic. Like, I got to see it. I got to see it. But I thought this was good with Swerve. I thought this was good.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. It's going to be an all-timer. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Mark Briscoe then is interviewed backstage. And he said the time for words is behind him. He's going to talk with his fists. He goes, MJF, your day of atonement is here. And Max, you are going to pay for all your sins. And then we see the world champion. I'm sorry, the champion of the fucking world. Hangman Adam Page rolls up and he says, I've known you for 14 years now. From PWX to Ring of Honor to New Japan to here. He goes, I've always respected the Briscoe brothers. And he goes, in the way that you've handled yourself for the last couple years through everything, I admire that person even more. And he goes, and I hope you win tonight. And I hope that you are the next challenger in line for the title. Shakes his hand, wishes him good luck. Thought this was good. Thought this was good of Hangman.
Well, yeah, you got need a little more than hope there, Hangman. No.
Yeah, but I thought it was really good with the respect and Hangman kind of putting over Briscoe some more, and I thought this was well done here. And Pluggo, you're not gonna. I know this is gonna shock you, but when we came back from commercial, we had another interview segment, 5 in a row.
I'm telling you, man. That was my whole real quick. That was like my weird hang up with tonight was like. It just like it felt like they were trying to get to the main event, so they just it was so I don't know. We could have probably snuck in one more match, maybe.
Yeah. She's interviewing Queen Aminata in the back. Aminata says last time she fought Mercedes Moné, she knew she could beat her, but then Willow Nightingale rose up and tells her she did great, and they're going to take care of business in Triangle Madness on Collision.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris Statlander rolls up. And she says, in the name of womanhood and showing up for each other, and gives the mic to Willow for a speech. Willow says she's here to smile, win matches, and straighten out anybody who gets in the way of those two. And when she's ready to deal with that, they can talk. Statlander throws a handful of what appears to be toilet paper confetti at Nightingale and leaves. So it looks like Willow and Statlander are still not 100% on the same page. But these three girls will be taking on, I forget who, are they taking on the Julia Hart group? Is that what they're doing?
Well, they're taking on the Triangle of Madness, Julia Hart.
Yeah, Sky Blue and Tekla, right?
Yeah.
That's what they've been kind of dealing with. So that's going to be happening on Collision, which should be fun. And then we get to the main event.
Yeah, the 3 matches for Collision is the Kyle Fletcher, and then Hangman and Jet Speed versus LFI.
That should be good.
And
I like how Hangman's just being friends with all the other baby faces. You notice that? Like he's just friendly with all the other good guys. He's like, yeah, I'll fight with you. I'll die.
And listen, if you're the baby faces, of course you're friendly with Hangman because you don't want to burn your house down.
Yeah, I get it. I like it. He's a man of the people, that Hangman Adam Page.
Keep close.
Or as I call him, Hangman. Hangman Adam Page. All right, Mark Briscoe, MJF. This one has been building for a little bit now. And I thought these two had a real good main event match here. Back and forth, as you would expect. I mean, it starts off pretty hot and heavy. Max is biting Briscoe like 15 seconds into the match.
Right out of the gate.
Right out the gate, he's biting him, bringing him in the corner. Mark takes over for a little bit, and then they start fighting up into the crowd. Remsburg, who is the ref, is kind of just following them through the crowd as they're walking and punching each other. They get back to ringside. There was a step-up blockbuster, which was really nice by Mark Briscoe. He gets a table from out of the ring. He sets it up, but Max kind of gets away from him at that moment. At one point, MJF holds Bryce Remsburg hostage to kind of prevent Briscoe from getting him, and he kind of rakes the eyes, and then he starts taking a little bit of control. He's clawing at his nose. He's choking him in the corner. He's doing all dirty. dirty stuff. We come back from the in-match break. Friedman is using the ropes for leverage on a Cobra twist. Remsburg is yelling at him. They go back and forth. Then Mark starts getting in more control. They start going back and forth for a little bit. It looks like Max is setting up as we get a little further in the match. It's like he's setting up for a pile driver in the turnbuckles, but Briscoe reverses it and bites MJF on the forehead, gives him a little taste of his own medicine. Mark knocks him down with an uppercut. The path is clear. He hits a froggy bow. Mark hurts himself on the froggy bow, so he's kind of slow to roll into the cover, which just gives Max enough time to kick out at 2.999. MJF rolls out to the floor. They go to the floor. And he sets him up on the table, and it looks like he's going to give him a splash from the corner down into the table, but Max gets out of the way, and this table absolutely exploded.
Yeah, dude. I haven't seen a table blow up like that in a while.
That thing just shattered into like 7 pieces. It was just an absolute explosion of this table. It swung back around and like hit Briscoe in the head. It was,
and he landed pretty flush on his arm too. Yeah. That's how much that table just snapped on him.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's not more hurt.
I know. Then we get Max rolling into the ring, and he's demanding that Remsburg starts a count. Briscoe is slow to get up. I thought this was a really good spot because usually, you expect, they get to 8 and they're moving and then they dive in right before 10, but they did it a little differently with this one, which I actually kind of liked, where like Briscoe got up around 7, 8, and he took a few steps towards the ring, and then he actually like fell back down on top of the table, like out of exhaustion.
Yeah.
And then it was to 9, and then he still kind of got up, and he at least got to the apron, and MJF was actually the one that broke up the count, because once Briscoe got on the apron, MJF got on there. He hit the heat seeker. And then this was a cool little way to end the match as well. MJF covers him. Remsburg starts counting, and Remsburg's back is to kind of them laying down because Mark Briscoe gets his foot on the ropes before the 3 count, but Remsburg can't see it, and he counts the 3. Yeah. And then he immediately gets up to call for the bell, and MJF notices that Remsburg didn't see the foot on the rope, so he quickly pulls Briscoe's foot off the rope and acts like it was never there.
Yep, don't know what you're talking about there, Remsburg.
Yep, and that's it. That's the official call. The referee's decision is final. So MJF gets the pinfall victory over Briscoe with the heat seeker. Good, and there was some stuff at the end of them, which we'll get into, but just before we do, obviously there was a lot to break down there. This was a good main event match, which I've really liked this feud between these 2 guys a lot.
Yeah, and this feud, like, MJF didn't want to fight him. Hangman kind of goaded him into fighting him, saying, hey, you could beat a guy like Mark Briscoe, I'll consider a title shot. So he got it done in a slippery way, MJF style, but it was a good match. I mean, Mark Briscoe and him, they got good chemistry. I'm not always the biggest Mark Briscoe guy. So
I love Mark Briscoe.
I like it. I like him too, but I'm not like, sometimes I'm like, why is he in this spot? Why is he in this spot? But this particular one, I didn't think these 2 would have such great chemistry, and they really do. It's like been fantastic to watch. So hats off to both of them. It was a killer main event.
Yeah, it was really good. And then post-match, MJF starts beating down Briscoe. He's got some grounded punches on him. He slips on the Dynamite diamond ring. And he hammers Mark with the loaded punch with it. We then hear Hangman Adam Page's music hit. He comes out. Him and MJF are trading blows. Security rushes down to break them up. Mark Briscoe is bloodied at this moment. He comes to his senses. He goes, Max is trying to make his escape through the crowd. Hangman goes to check on Mark before heading out in the crowd. He starts beating up MJF out in the crowd. More security is swarming. Page starts punching security. He goes, Max, and then MJF gets away. They brawl at ringside a little bit. Hangman throws him into the ring and lines him up for what should be a buckshot, but security gets in the way, and Max runs away up the ramp. And that is how the show ends, with, them kind of staring at each other. So Hangman and MJF brawling with Briscoe kind of bloodied in the corner, ends the show, clearly heading towards Hangman and MJF, but I do like Mark Briscoe kind of lingering around, because Mark Briscoe can say, yeah, all right, he did say you had to beat me, but you didn't. You didn't. My foot was clearly on the rope. Yeah, technically you did. You beat me. Like, it's what it is.
In the books,
but you didn't beat me. You didn't really beat me.
Yeah.
So they can continue the Briscoe MJF thing, which I think is really, it's bringing the best out of Mark Briscoe. Like, I've always enjoyed Briscoe. He's always been a fun time. But this last 3 or 4 weeks with him kind of being a little bit more serious and kind of being a little bit, I don't want to say like Jay, because he is his own guy, but, you know, bringing out that Jay in him, like you said, a little bit. I think
he's
it's
kind of
really
like going away from the kung fu thing, and he's really just brawling with MJF.
Yeah,
it's been nice. Like I said, it's been a nice little change of pace. And then maybe they will do one more thing. Maybe there'll be one more blow-off match where it's like, all right, if you can beat him here, I'll give you a title shot.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Maybe the next one is for the #1 contendership or something, like, because Briscoe going into this, if Briscoe would have won this, it would have been his 4th
main event,
Dynamite main event straight win, they said. So he had been on a little bit of a heater and main events. He loses nefariously here, like, it's not great.
And Hangman wanted him to win it, and Hangman obviously saw what happened, so he can't be like, well, you still lost, right?
Exactly. So I feel like it could lead to it could lead to, because I'm sure Hangman is going to be potentially fighting somebody not in AEW at Forbidden Door, maybe. So maybe MJF and Briscoe have their last match at Forbidden Door for the #1 contendership at All Out, maybe, or something like that. Then Hangman ends up fighting the world champion from somewhere else or something. I don't know. But I agreed with what you said at the top of the show. I thought tonight was a good episode of Dynamite. I thought it was a step up from last week. Last week was kind of, I don't want to call it mid, because that's degrading, but it was kind of, it wasn't to the caliber that we had been seeing lately.
I don't know what it was. I just wasn't I wasn't all in on it. No pun intended. It just felt like it was clunky at spots. But tonight went by smooth. The MJF interaction throughout really worked well for me. And I'm sitting here with you talking about it, so it must have been all right.
It's a good time as always, brother.
That's right.
But obviously, thank you again for filling in for Jose and joining us here on Dynamite Up on Bodyslam.net. I know what you hopefully will be plugging right now. But for anybody else out there who might not know,
what do you mean? Whatever do you mean?
I don't know. There might be something that both of us are doing, potentially, maybe even together. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. Potentially. What are you bowing out on me?
No, I would assume. I'm just trying to lead.
Yes. Tomorrow night.
Why don't you let the people know where they can find you and what you got coming up that you want
tomorrow night in our normal time slot over in our normal home, Love Wrestling, at 8 p.m. between two beards. It's going to be a SummerSlam safe space, because it's been quite a week for professional wrestling fans. So we want you guys to come. We're going to try to make sense of most of it, and try to do it in a way that everybody that has a feeling one way or another, will come talk about it. Because, it's been a week for wrestling fans. So that'll be that tomorrow night, 8 p.m. at B2 Beards on all social media platforms to keep up to date on maybe any changes, any possible guests popping in. You never know how we play it. And then I will be back Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. with Blair Pacheco for Exposure. We'll be talking about the upcoming Black Label Pro shows at For Exposure Pod on Twitter for that. And then I am Pluggo. You can find me on all social media platforms. Search his face. I pop up there. That's it. That's what I got.
Hell yeah, man. You can follow me at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms. Like he said, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on our friends at Love Wrestling. We do Between Two Beards. You can catch me here every Wednesday evening right after AEW Dynamite, doing AEW Dynamite Up right here on Bodyslam with my friend and co-host Jose on the air, who should be back next week to our original lineup. And we're figuring out the Raw stuff, guys. I know Raw Dogs has been a little hit or miss these last few months, but there's been scheduling things. We're figuring that out, but there will be some form of a Raw post show more like every week, more consistently here in the near future. It's just been a wild time and things like that. So you should be seeing me here more consistently on Mondays after Raw as well. Hopefully sometime soon in the future. Be on the lookout on Bodyslam for those things when we kind of figure out what's going on there. So again, plug out. Thank you much, buddy. You know,
thank you for having me. I appreciate
tonight
it.
and filling in for Jose. I obviously will be seeing your pretty face in less than 24 hours for Between Two Beards. Hopefully anybody in the chat that's enjoyed the vibe of us two this evening. We do this every Thursday night over on Love Wrestling, so come have a good time.
I'm trying to behave tonight because
I know.
Your house.
Usually it's a little bit more off the rails, but in a good way. But yes, we have a good time. So go check us out. Follow us at B2Beards on all social media platforms, and follow bodyslam.net on all social media platforms. And I will see you right back here next week after Dynamite with my pal Jose for another edition of Dynamite Up. But until then, wait, do we even have an outro? Yes, we do. God almighty. Good Lord. Good Lord. I'm like, what do I do? All right.
No, you're like, where's Sue?
Then, I know. We'll see you later. Peace out.